So I've actually been scuba diving for the last 8 years, and I wanted to film my submission underwater with sharks. Except when I went out there, the waters were a little choppy. Although if I make it on the show, that's definitely something I'm going to bring to the table. I think that's a whole market that hasn't been cornered yet. So why make a good tout? Well, I'm always the quickest one to take thinking faster than anyone else. I listen to 6 hours of podcasts a day, often 2 or 3 at the same time. I had 28% of Bonnie Chain last year, and I would have won a bunch of contests on Underdog if it wasn't for Tyreek Hill getting hurt and Xavier Worthy underperforming. My true theorem take is that slow drafts are unconstitutional and should be voided from the Underdog applet. So I've been playing fantasy football for the last 8 years. I won my home league in 2019, I think. And yeah, it's, something that I've always been passionate about. Why did I film with sunglasses on? I thought they made me look so cool. I promised I wasn't reading off of the script. Why did I edit my submission? I just want to show that I possess that capability. I knew I shouldn't have bitmaxed in my submission video. Mayo doesn't understand any internet reference past 1995. The only reference he got was Blizzy's Real World intro. Yeah, so like I always say, this game always comes down to are you winning or are you losing? And, last year I had a really successful fantasy year. I won $2,000 into Dalmatian. Now, yeah, was I down $14K overall for the year? Sure. But I think that just speaks to my credentials as a fantasy analyst. Can I tout? Yeah, again, back what I just said. So referring back to my last point, we did win 2K into Dalmatian. I've won my family home league, for the last 11 years. So yeah, I feel like I keep making the same point. Again, I've won my home league a bunch, and yeah, that Dalmatian pick. Hey, a 9.5. I'll take that. I thought Mayo was going to go way harder on me. Wait, that's it? So I just sweated through an hour and a half, and they didn't even play my video? I had so many good takes in there. Man, nothing makes a Friday afternoon go quicker than watching Mayo roast some kids and destroy their dreams. Yeah, good, Mayo. Oh, that's definitely a 4. Yep, that kid, he just doesn't have the juice. Is it 1 o'clock yet? How is it still 9:30? No, I can't go to the 1 o'clock. I don't care if it's our main client. Julie, I told you I'm booked today, okay? That means all day. No, I know. Okay, so that sounds like a Monday problem. Yeah, that's a good point. Wow, that was brutal. Mayo really went in on me. He made some good points, though. I mean, maybe my premise took away from my persona a little bit. Maybe I was too focused on being eccentric and standing out, and that took away from my core identity. And, he was right. I could have worked on my delivery a little bit more. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, Mayo did not understand the assignment. Yeah, like, obviously I would have changed my submission if I knew that Mayo was going to be the guest judge. Yeah, well, at least I didn't resubmit. I mean, I was one of the first people to even apply for the show, so obviously I didn't know what everyone else was going to do. Dude, it's like, he didn't even get to the second half of my video, which was really when the submission took off, so I'm supposed to take his word for it? Mom, I know all of your 4th graders have cell phones. No, it can't wait till school on Monday. Yeah, I'm just saying you can't put out an email. Yo, Sammy, it's Mitchell. Long time no talk. Yeah. No, Mitchell from high school? Oh, yeah, no, I know, brother. I was just wondering, are you still doing computer science stuff? Oh, wow, really? Yeah, hard times, man, hard times, that industry. Um, well, can I get you for a special project? Cut it. Cut it. He's just not grabbing me. You know what? I really like that one. I'm going to give that a 4.5. I don't know if it's the size small t-shirt I wear, but I just get really agitated watching some of these reviews. Do you like my host attire? They even got me in the button down and everything. Yeah, and here's the thing too, like, I just don't know if he really wants to compete in this competition or if he's just in it for clout. Yeah, well, Pat, I know you cut that off after 5 seconds, but can I show you a little bit more about this guy? Yeah, Pat, so one thing a lot of applicants got tripped on, and maybe it's my fault for never really explaining it or taking any time throughout any of the videos to give good examples or really lead them in any specific direction. I kind of just threw them all to the wolves and never addressed it again. But yeah, truth serum was a problem for some of the applications. I'm so done. I put my blood, sweat, and tears into that submission, and I got 2. I got 2. He gave I can't. I wish I could, guys, but we don't have the budget to do a proper rage font. I mean, this is my recording setup right now, so I mean, let's be for real. All right, everyone, had to save the best superlative for last. Fuck. All right, everyone, had to save the last superlative for last, for yours truly, the best of all. But wanted to talk a little bit about episode 1 and feedback and content creation in general. Luckily, I say in quotes, I got a low score from Pat Mayo in episode 1, and I think that afforded me the opportunity to not only make this video as a whole, but kind of talk on behalf of some of you that maybe got a lower score than you anticipated or didn't get reviewed at all. And maybe no matter where you ended out after episode 1, we can kind of all get through it together if I explain a little bit about how I'm kind of framing things. I know I'm not an established creator in the space. I'm not a Pat Mayo. I'm not a Pete Overzet, but hopefully I can shed some sort of vulnerability that can be beneficial to all as we move forward in the competition. But wanted to talk a little bit about episode 1 as a whole. I thought it was a really great episode. And to anyone that's mad at Pat, like, you guys gotta realize, it's a reality show. Entertainment is king. If you got a great score, if you got a really bad score, as long as you elicited a reaction, in my opinion, that's a positive for the show. So I think it was super successful. If you look at the views, it's been pretty successful. So really happy overall with how episode 1 went, even if it was maybe at my own detriment a little bit. But wanted to talk a little bit about feedback to start. So feedback in content creation is a really difficult thing. Obviously, especially for this competition, for our submission, we had to talk about our background and give personal anecdotes. And then the true serum component was added some vulnerability and like offering yourself up. Here's who I am as a person. Here's my identity. Here's why I would be good for the show. And now we're getting feedback on that, which is kind of difficult, right? Because you have to have some sort of an ego to be a content creator, because you're basically saying, here's why my stuff is more valuable. Here's why I'm worthwhile. You should watch me over these other people. So I think you have to have some sort of a heightened thought of maybe not yourself, but of your content as a whole. And so to get negative feedback on that on the back end, especially something as personal as your background or who you are as a person, can be really tough. But if I had to shed any sort of lesson here, it would be to be a successful content creator. People will say you need all sorts of things. They'll say you need a magnetic personality. You need to be able to engage your audience. You need some of the technical skills, whether it's editing, creating thumbnails, writing. But for me, the thing that really separates people that end up making it is perseverance, because no matter how far you go in your content career, you're going to get pushback. That pushback may be public sentiment. It may be not getting a lot of views right off the bat. And so how are you able to push forward past that? How are you able to take that feedback, again, whether it's direct, people saying they don't like your stuff, or indirect, people just not paying attention to your stuff? How do you push through that wall and keep going on? And so that's why I think it was a really smart way to start the show, because we're going to learn a lot about some of the contestants based on how they react to episode 1. And if they're taking in stride and they're making some notes and be like, okay, maybe that didn't work, but this will in the future, I think those are the people that are going to be really successful as we get towards some of the competitions. And then I also wanted to say, like, anything, feedback also creates an opportunity, regardless of if it's good or bad. So I'm just going to break into 3 different sections, right? Let's say you did really well in episode 1 and Pat really liked your video. Okay, now you have a lot of momentum going into the show, which means that's great. Like, you're riding a wave, and so now it's up to you to push forward and continue that momentum through the first couple of challenges or stages of the show. Maybe it gives you a little bit of a fallback, all right, maybe if you do worse in episode 2, you'll still have a buoy from episode 1, but it should be a pretty good step for you to be like, all right, now I'm going to take this momentum and really push hard going forward. If you got a bad score and Pat really hated your video and you are so lucky as to get on the show, well, I think that creates an opportunity for crafting a narrative about improvement and about maybe a comeback story, or someone that fell in a hardship early on in the competition and battled back, someone that took some of the lessons from episode 1 and built upon it, and by the end of the show, you're a completely different person than you were in episode 1, and Pat wouldn't even recognize you. Obviously, the amount that you wouldn't want to be recognized, because there is some things that you can't change, right? But for the most part, I think that's a good opportunity. And if you weren't reviewed at all, take that chip on your shoulder. And okay, if you are on the show, that gives you a clean slate. People have already formed their opinion over the people that they have seen. But if you were lucky, maybe, to escape the wrath of Pat in episode 1, and you show up with a blank slate in the episode 2, you may be a little bit further back as far as notoriety with the public, but you can use that to craft. Now you have all the lessons that other people learned from episode 1, and you can use that to build your identity for episode 2 and beyond. So I think those are the 2 main things I kind of wanted to talk through. And yeah, would I have loved a better score from Pat? Sure. It's not necessarily, this part of the video is not about me in particular. I'm just shedding my experience on behalf of everyone else. But I thought it was a fair rating. I went for a more eccentric, edit-heavy video, which I don't think is his particular appetite. But there were things that I think I took away from his feedback that I can clean up in the future, and I'm excited to showcase that for the rest of the competition. So, and last thing I wanted to say, look, guys, if you don't make the show, if you get out in round 1, round 2, there's only going to be one winner of this thing. So don't let a loss in this competition be that wall that you run into and you can't hurdle over. Okay? Because like I said, it's all about perseverance. If you really want to be a tout and you really want to be a creator in this space, you won't let other people tell you no. You'll just keep telling yourself yes until you can't hear anyone else. And if you aren't willing to do that, then you probably weren't supposed to be a tout in the first place. So those are my thoughts on episode 1. Thought it was a really good episode. Hopefully you guys got some chuckles in the first half of this. And I hope no matter where you fell, this will at least give some sort of perspective. Maybe it's not the right perspective, but it's my perspective. So yeah, excited for episode 2 and to see the competition out from here.